everyone, welcome back to Ormsby Farm, the halfway homestead. Y'all, it is week 3 of Every Bit Counts Challenge. Can you believe it's 3 weeks? But yes, we had a very rainy week here in the homestead. It's been very rainy every single day. As you see, the garden is just kind of over the water. So are my herbs. So we decided to do a lot of inside stuff, and it's a great thing that we had the Every Bit Counts Challenge because all I could really do was can some more. This week, I mainly focused on a lot of canned soups and leftovers and canning beans that will stock up my winter pantry for when the garden is pretty much done, which it pretty much is. We can still eat over the winter until the spring. So, y'all, if you are new here, hello, I am Casey from Ormsby Farm, the halfway homestead. I was a city boy that moved out to the country, but then had to move back to the city. But I'm moving back to the country. So if these kind of video interest you, whether it's backyard chickens, cooking from scratch, canning and preserving, I hope you go ahead and like and subscribe, and then go ahead and click that bell icon because YouTube will notify you anytime I have new videos that come out to the channel. And right now I'm doing about 3 videos a week, and I am just really excited to start prepping before I move to my forever homestead. So go ahead and subscribe. Join me on my journey, but let's go ahead and get into the recipes and get into canning. Remember, I will leave all of the recipes down below.
Ormsby Farms and the halfway homestead.
Alrighty, y'all, it is day 16, and I'm doing a stock up on my black beans and my FIESTA beans. I go through a lot of black beans over the winter, and I use a lot of my FIESTA beans when I'm having any type of Mexican dish. I'm washing and rinsing my dried beans, and y'all, any recipes that I use, I will put down below so you won't have to worry about following on the screen. But I'm doing about a half a cup of the dried rinsed beans inside of my jars. Yes, I am canning dried beans. I promise it's going to be just wonderful and work out perfectly. I'm going to use a teaspoon of my fajita seasoning in there before putting the half cup of the dried beans, filling it up with just lukewarm tap water and stirring around, making sure any air bubbles that were trapped in there are released before I continue on with the process. Now I am using my forjar canning lids, and I'm wiping the rims to make sure there are no cracks or nothing on them. If you are interested in any products that Forjar has, I am absolutely in love with them. Go ahead and click my link down below and use my code ORMSBY10 for 10% off of your purchase. Stock up and get ready, y'all. I'm also putting it in my NESCO electric pressure canner. We're making sure that it's vented and pressing high for 75 minutes. And we're just going to let it do its thing, and then they will turn out so wonderful and beautiful. Now, on day 17, I'm really excited because I went out to the garden because it was actually not raining for one time this week. And I got some of my herbs. I am making fire cider. I put in my rosemary, I put in my oregano, and I put in my thyme. Now, y'all, the recipe will be down below, but I wanted to talk a little bit about why fire cider. Fire cider is immune boosting, and it's antimicrobial. It reduces inflammation, soothing sore throats and coughs, and supporting gut health, among many other different reasons of why it's so good. But also the stuff that I'm using, the rosemary. Rosemary is anti-inflammatory, the thyme, antifungal, and provides antioxidants. The oregano is antibacterial. The onion and the garlic, antibacterial, gut health, heart health. Garlic is going to be the inflammation and help with blood pressure and cholesterol and immune booster. The citrus that I use is immune booster, weight management, and protects from some chronic diseases. All of my roots, such as the ginger root, which is gut health and anti-inflammatory, the turmeric, which is just God's gift to amazingness. It's good for cardiovascular disease, inflammation, depression, immunity, all of that kind of stuff. The horseradish, same thing. Anti-inflammatory, digestive, all of that is so good. I'm putting all of that in there along with adding some of my seasonings. Paprika is good for eye health, and it's good for heart and digestion. I also put in cayenne, which has capsaicin, which is so good for your body. But I also put in some cumin for digestion, along with filling the apple cider, which is good for blood sugar, controls cholesterol. So good. Now, y'all, with that, we're going to let it sit for a while before we put honey in it. So while I'm doing this is day 18, which is split pea soup. Now, I get my split peas from Azure Standard. I do have a link down below. Casey Guest 3 will get you all set up so you can go ahead and get going. And also the recipe will be down below. But I am using some bay leaves, and I'm putting in some carrots and some onions and some leftover ham that I have. And I'm not a fan of split pea soup, but Mom loves it. So this mainly is for her. She gets down with split pea soup over the winter. So anything that is stocked up that is kind of like convenience food is basically what we're aiming for. Now, y'all, I will, again, leave the recipe down below because as I was prepping this, I was prepping for a pint size. So it doesn't look like a lot of split pea soups, but I did add more split peas before I canned it because I noticed that it was for a pint and not for a quart. So the one down below will be for a quart. Don't you worry. I'm filling it up with just lukewarm, tap warm water, and then I'm going to wipe the rims. And again, I'm going to use my forjar canning lids. They're absolutely wonderful. I have 100% seal rate every single time. Use my code Ormsby10 to get 10% off of your purchase, and go ahead. And they have canning jars now, y'all. What an exciting thing. So same thing, using my NESCO electric pressure canner for 90 minutes because there is meat in my soup. And then I'm going to let it sit for 24 hours after it's done so it seals. So I was going through my pantry and noticed I am really, really low on beans. So that is what I'm doing today is I'm just doing a bean stock up for day 19. And I'm doing a mix of the navy beans, but I'm also doing some kidney beans. What I do is I take a half cup of the dried beans. I rinse them to make sure there's no rocks. Then I'm going to put them into the pint jar. Same thing for my navy beans. All of my beans I get from Azure Standard. Again, the link will be down below if you are interested in Azure Standard. But same kind of premise. Half a cup, rinse, make sure there's no rocks, all that kind of stuff. Put it in the jar, and then we're going to backfill this half cup of a pint with just tap water, y'all. One thing that I want to say, when you are using tap water, you need to make sure that your pressure canner water and your electric pressure canner is the same temperature so that you don't have any can breakage or the sealing issues. I'm wiping the rim, even though it's just water, I'm just checking for cracks as well. But just in case there's anything that would prohibit the seal on there, I want to make sure that I get it before it starts to can. I'm going to use my forjar canning lids as per usual. And I'm using the wide mouth ones. I haven't used the wide mouth ones much this go round, so I'm excited to use them because I have a bunch of them. And we're just putting the ring on finger tight, and then we're going to put it into the NESCO electric pressure canner, and we're going to do it for 75 minutes. I'm doing a full tutorial on how to use the NESCO electric pressure canner. It comes out tomorrow, so if you want to learn how to use the electric pressure canner for water bath and pressure canning, come back tomorrow. But yes, okay, so now I'm making chili. Chili is my go-to soup over the winter. I'm browning some meat. I'm putting in my onions and peppers, and I'm just adding in all the different ingredients. Now, again, the ingredients will be down below, but our chili recipe is also in our Taste of the Season Ormsby Farm cookbook. If you are interested in those, leave me a comment, and I will send you links of how to purchase them. But whatever chili recipe that you like, go ahead and go with that. Now, y'all, I do use a little bit of cane sugar and cocoa powder that I get from the Amish store. Y'all, trust the process. It is so good. I'm going to put all the seasonings in there, and then I'm going to bring my chili up to a boil, and then I'm going to turn down my chili and let it simmer probably for about 2-3 hours is what I do to make sure all of the stuff is included in there. But again, any chili recipe that you have that you like will work. Because what we're just doing is we're canning it for 90 minutes. So now I got my clean jars, and what I'm going to do is use my 4-jar funnel, and what we're going to do is we're going to scoop it in. I like to scoop just meat in first to make sure that I have an equal amount of meat in every single one of the jars before I get more of the liquid. So any of the meat and the beans and that kind of stuff, I'm going to scoop that in to make sure it's evenly distributed before I refill it with everything else. As you see here, it's kind of a tedious process, but it makes much better soup going, down the line once you open it again, because this will make probably a dinner for 2 people. It's about 2 soups. normal size bowl of soups, I guess I should say. I should know the actual like amount to sound really smart and that kind of stuff, but I don't. But it's 2 people soup and it's delicious. Make sure you are wiping the rim because this is going to be nice and greasy, and you want to make sure all the grease is off of the rims so that it is sealing. Again, using my forjar canning lids, putting the ring on finger tight, and then we're going to put it into the pressure canner, and we're going to do it again for 90 minutes. All meat soups go in for 90 minutes for the quarts. And then we're just going to let it sit for a couple minutes. All right, y'all, now I'm making instant hummus. I've done a video on this, and I will link it right here, the short, but I forgot to soak beans the night before, so what I'm doing is I'm doing 1 cup of my dried beans with 2 cups of water in the Instapot, and I'm going to make sure I put it on high for 45 minutes, and that will take care of the soaking and the boiling that you need to do before you can this stuff. So now that I've let it gone down for 20 minutes, there's no pressure still. I open it up. The beans look great. And what I'm doing is I'm using these roasted sesame seeds. I found out that that is what tahini is. So look at me learning stuff. I'm putting in 1/4 of a cup of 4 tablespoons into my pint jars of this roasted sesame seeds. And then I'm going to put 1/2 tablespoon of the garlic. I did a full tablespoon last time and it was a little garlicky for me. So I'm just doing 1/2 this time. Do as much as you want. I'm using garlic. You can use the regular fresh garlic too. You can also use regular already squeezed lemon juice. I'm doing a large lemon in each one of the jars. Then I'm backfilling with the chickpeas that are soaked and boiled. And then we're going to fill it up with water, lukewarm water, like I do for everything, y'all. I'm just making sure when I can that my canning water is the same temperature as the water that I have in my jars. I will explain that more in my video where I do the tutorial, but there is a big, important reason of why you should do that. Wiping the rims, making sure there's nothing on it. And then, of course, I'm using my 4-jar lids again. This was a 4-jar kind of week, y'all. I was doing it every single night, opening their beautiful box. Their presentation is amazing. Their product is amazing. Their customer service is amazing. Check them out for sure. Use Ormsby 10. Again, I'm doing it for 75 minutes because they are beans. And then we are just going to let it sit for 24 hours until they seal. All right, last one, which was day 22, is I'm doing some beef taco meat. Now, I just brown up tacos, and I started off in the quart. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a tablespoon of my fajita seasoning. I'm going to backfill with water, so when you drain it to cook it, you probably will need to add a little bit more seasoning. But as I was doing this and I was trying to be all fancy and wonderful, I've noticed that it was pretty much enough meat to make 2 pints, not 2 quarts. So what I decided and ended up doing is dumping what I had into the quarts and kind of going with that. I was a little bit confused at first. I was like, how am I going to do this? Okay. And then we made sure that the beef was in there so it got that seasoning at the bottom. And then I just backfilled with the water so that I could get any seasoning that was left that didn't come out of the jar before. Again, all of the recipe will be down below, but this was a pound of ground beef. So a pound of ground beef, 1/2 pound each, is going to put you at 2 pint jars. This is really good on a convenient night. So just pop this open, drain, bring it back up hot with more seasoning, and then you have some ground beef taco meat. Easy, quick, throw it on nachos, throw it on tacos, however you want to do it. But I always do this to clear out my freezer, but to make sure that I have some quick and easy meals over the winter. Wiping the rim because, ground beef is very greasy, using my 4-jar lids, using my rings, finger tight. And what I'm going to do now that they are pints of meat, you need to pressure can for 75 minutes. So I'm putting it in my NESCO that has the same temperature water as what I put in my jars for 75 minutes. We're going to let it sit and wait until it seals, and then we're going to enjoy it. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to week 3. I cannot believe it's been 3 weeks so far of Every Bit Counts Challenge. I'm really excited to get the last week, week 4, with a bang with some really fun recipes, so you won't want to miss any second of Every Bit Counts Challenge week 4 that's coming out next week. So to make sure that you don't, be sure if you are enjoying this content that you go ahead and press that thumbs up and the subscribe button, but also press the bell because then YouTube will notify you anytime that new content drops to the channel, which is every weekend. But you can also follow me on social media, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, all at Ormsby Farms. I post there every single day of the challenge so you can see pictures and descriptions of what I'm doing every day. But then you'll come back on the Saturday to find the full recipes and videos. So y'all, I will see y'all on the next video. I hope you have a wonderful week. And until next video, be blessed.